Is the Nintendo Switch 2 actually worth $500 to play one exclusive game? Or is it just because it's Nintendo and we all have FOMO for the Nintendo Switch 2? Here's why you don't need the Switch 2 yet. I mainly made this video for those who are kind of like on the fence about buying a Switch 2, if it's worth to like buy one off eBay that is way over the price of what it should be, or if you should just like wait a year or so to get it and wait for more of them to be made. Now, this video isn't to rag or say anything awful about the Switch 2. It's more just information that I've compiled for the Switch 2 for myself that I wanted to share with others about the very valid reasons why I feel like it might be good to wait to spend $500 on this console. Also, I have a Switch 1, and so I feel like if you don't have a Switch 1, then this console would make a ton more sense for you to buy. Most of my logic is already coming from me owning a Switch 1 and having it work perfectly fine and still have a bunch of games that I need to play in my backlog. Okay, my first reason, mainly for me, and then I wanted to share, was just like the price point. I know that all the pre-orders have sold out, and I think Nintendo estimated it was like 3.5 million that have already sold, which is like crazy. That is, I'm pretty sure, the biggest pre-order or sales of a console that has ever happened. But in my opinion, like, I don't know how sales will go after this kind of big pre-order thing, and I'm like wondering if half the people who bought it because they were worried about it selling out, or like if you got a pre-order, then you were like, oh, like I'm special and I should buy this because not everybody has an opportunity to buy this. Or because some of them are scalpers on eBay, and so they bought a bunch of pre-orders and now they're selling them on eBay for like 100 to 200 more. I wanted to show some listings, a lot of the listings on eBay, because it was pretty baffling to me to see all of these. Why are people buying these? This honestly shocks me and shows just how much this is built around people feeling like they need one and that it will be impossible to buy. Which is crazy because we all know that they will come out with more. Like, it's not like they're just going to stop making them because of how much money they've already made off of these. Like, spending double on this thing is already crazy because the price point for it originally is already like quite a lot of money for most people to shovel out, including myself, just for a gaming console that only has one exclusive game to it at this point. And my Facebook marketplace is like flooded with Switch 1 listings. So like if you don't have a Switch 1 and you don't want to spend that much on a Switch 2, like you don't have to. You could get a really good deal on one of those. Also, the Switch 2 only came out like a week and a half ago, at least at the point that I'm making this video. So people are still trying out this console and giving it honest reviews, whether they're good or negative. I've seen a lot of the opposite sides of the spectrum on reviews on the Switch. I feel like it's good to wait for a few months to really see how people are feeling about this, if their minds change on some things. A big thing I've already heard about is that the battery, like when it's not charging and not on the dock, like does not hold a charge very well. There's a lot of videos on that. I think there was some that was saying that you could like fix it, but the fact that it's supposed to be more of a portable gaming thing and not just attached to the TV, and that's something that they haven't fixed, then that's something that I don't love. There's also a huge possibility that Nintendo is going to release an OLED model of the Switch 2 or an upgraded model in like a couple of years that will have all of the bugs that the Switch 2 had, and it will have most of those fixed. And normally I wouldn't bring this up, but at least for me, it's a huge chunk of money to put out when I feel like I wouldn't be getting as much out of it, at least for playtime. And I feel like for those who are on a tighter budget like me, it would be beneficial to see how the Switch 2 plays out in the coming months, to see if you should be saving your money for something else that you would want to play more as a gamer, or getting something for your family that might be more beneficial than buying this. Again, that's basically, everyone has a different situation on that and what you feel like you would actually be able to get out of this console. Like if you have a big family and you guys would like be playing Mario Kart World all the time, and eventually when they're coming out with new games or like Mario Party and there's Donkey Kong Bonanza coming out, if you feel like your family is going to be getting a lot out of this console, then I think that's great and that you should buy that for you if you feel like that it's worth your money and time. Another thing is that the only game that's like exclusive to this is Mario Kart World, which has also had very mixed reviews on. I wouldn't say that most people are calling it awful. I would just say they don't think that it's worth the $80 price point, which I mean, if you bundle it with the Switch 2, then it's only $50. I am kind of like a solo gamer, so Mario Kart just doesn't seem fun to me. Like I would want to play it with a big group. That's not like the game that I'm excited to be released or for them to like remake one, which I know also isn't true for everybody. But so for me, it's kind of really pointless to buy this at this point because Mario Kart World is the only game that is exclusive to it. My main reason that I wanted the Switch 2 was for the GameCube games, but paying $450 and then needing to pay for a controller, which is like $80, and then needing to buy the Nintendo Switch subscription just to get the GameCube games add-on, which is $50 a year for one person, didn't seem worth it to me. I was really excited to play Luigi's Mansion, but I guess the only ones that are actually even out on the GameCube right now are The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, F-Zero GX, and Soul Calibur 2. Which I've only played The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. I have it on my original GameCube. I know that they will be coming out with like Luigi's Mansion and a bunch of other GameCube games in the future, but at least right now, because they don't have that, I really don't see a point in buying it right now, or at least spending $150 to $200 more just to buy it off of eBay. I know graphics, frame rates, and like loading time are a ton better, and this kind of goes for any game that was on the Switch one. I think big examples would be like The Witcher 3 and Hogwarts Legacy. They still ran on the Switch one, but like the graphics were awful, and then loading time was just bad, so it wasn't as fun of a game to play, and you don't feel like you could fully experience a game because it just looked bad, and it was kind of frustrating. So I feel like if you're someone who has bought a lot of these games on the Switch 1 and you've already spent like a decent amount of money on those games, if they don't work as well, then I feel like buying the Switch 2 would actually be really nice for you because you have already spent a lot of money on these games that should be performing a lot better from what I've seen from videos and what Nintendo has claimed with all of their new updated graphics. But for me, I don't really have a lot of those games, and all my games work perfectly fine on the Switch. I have a lot of like small indie games is more what I play, or Nintendo games that are already compatible and supposed to be optimized on the Switch one. So that's kind of up to you, Ron, what type of games that you play, and if you feel like it's worth it and worth your time to go out and buy the Switch 2 to have these upgrades on games. Okay, another thing is the voice chat and online play. You need a subscription to have any of the voice chat or online play features. And unless literally all of your friends or family are willing to buy a $50 camera and a $50 like yearly subscription to show their face playing on the screen and to talk to you, then I think this is like a little pointless to get. Like for me, like I only play like single player games, or if I'm playing with people, we're all in the same room, like Mario Kart, and not a lot of my friends or family want to go just out and buy the Switch 2 just for that. Any of the games that we do play together, like Fortnite, they already have voice chat built in and it's free. So, or you can just do like a phone call with them. And maybe it's just me, but I don't really want people to see my face while I'm playing online games with them, because then I just have to also worry about what my face looks like the whole time. And so I don't think I would ever use that. I do understand the novelty of it, but when every other gaming system has access to these features for free, or if you game on a PC, you can just use Discord, I don't understand why you would be paying potentially over $100 just to use this feature. My other thing is I really like to buy knockoff brand accessories for the Switch, like controllers and headsets. So I think it's also very valuable to wait until like good quality but cheaper accessories have been made that are compatible with the Switch 2. I kind of looked on Amazon for some, and there's not like a huge variety of options, and like reviews on them aren't super solid, or people haven't had a lot of time to even get it and like play with it and see if it's like a thing that will like last for a long time. The Nintendo accessories for me are really expensive. I know the Pro controller is supposed to be like a ton better and might even be worth the $80, but I personally don't ever think that I could spend $80 like on a controller. And when I know that I could have bought something cheaper, me and my husband both bought controllers at the same time. He got like a Pro controller on the Switch one. I got a $20 one off Amazon. His died and has a really bad drift. Like that was like 2 or 3 years ago. And mine's fine. And it works great, it holds charge great, like it's worked out great. I know it's not the case for every single off-brand accessory, but I do think it's beneficial to wait and kind of see when some of those better off-brand accessories are made. So you're not having to also shovel out like $50 for a camera, $80 for a controller, buying like a case or a screen protector. I don't know all the accessories that Nintendo actually came out with for the Switch, but I also think that's a good thing to wait for. Those are all my kind of reasons for why I have decided to at least wait a couple months to a year to even consider buying the Switch 2 and see if it's worth it. I'm very happy with my Switch 1 and where I'm at with that. If the Switch 2 came out with like a bunch of different games that like I really wanted to play, like if there was a new Zelda game, I would highly consider buying it. Or again, if like the GameCube games came out and there was a lot more of them and more that I wanted to play just on the Switch 2. But I would wait until they make more so you can buy it at the actual price point that Nintendo set and not buying it from scalpers off eBay, because I promise at least in the couple months to a year, there will be plenty of opportunities for you to buy a Switch 2 at its original price. If the Switch 2 is something that you've been looking forward to and are excited to buy it and play it and can afford that and feel like it's worth your time and money, then you deserve to buy that and enjoy it. And I'm happy for anyone who has it and feel like they've gotten their use out of it. And I hope that you have many more hours of enjoying your time on the Switch 2. This video was more for people who are kind of on the fence about buying it or seeing if it's kind of just FOMO that you're wanting to get it. So this was kind of to hopefully help de-influence you from just buying it because you think everybody else has it. Like, hopefully you now have either valid reasons for yourself to buy the Switch 2 or to wait to buy it. Let me know in the comments your thoughts, whether if you bought the Switch 2 and you love it, or if you have kind of some things that you're worried about buying it. Maybe in the comments people can help either sway one way or another and give their honest opinions on things to help you figure out if the Switch 2 is something for you. But I hope you enjoyed this video and join me for more Nintendo casual gaming. I love nostalgia gaming too. My channel's kind of just starting out, so I'm kind of figuring out what I want to do with all these things, but definitely most things gaming are my jam. So I hope you stick around and that you have a great rest of your day. Bye.